Good evening and thank you for still watching Prime Edition. Now, in 1975, Timothy Ekesa was turned away from attending school because his hand could not curve long enough above his head to touch his ear.
This was the criteria used then to determine if a child was of age to start school life in rural Kenya, educating to Kenya's independence.
Now, moreover, the language of instruction was based on geographical placement, such that if the school was in Meru, the students would learn in Meru dialect.
Regina Manyara from Meru goes back in time, highlighting the country's education through the eye of Timothy Ekesa, currently the Director Kenya Advocacy for advancement of children's rights education journey.
Disemba 24 mzee wetu alipandisha bendera jamhuri. Mzee wetu alituomba tusahau yaliyopita, badala yake tuijenge nchi yetu.
The eve of independence brought with it sweeping reforms in the education system. With the creation of a single nation emerged a single education system, no longer stratified along radical lines. During the colonial era, there was no such thing as a nation, only several nations living side by side in the same territory. Education, like society, was stratified along racial lines. There existed an African education, a European education, and an Asian education. Three separate systems divided by rigid boundaries.
Alituomba tusahau yaliyopita, badala yake tuijenge nchi yetu. Alisema harambee tuungane na hivi sasa.
This stratification was based on the colonialist assertion that the mental development of an average African adult was equivalent to that of the average 7 to 8-year-old European boy.
I started my primary a bit early. I think in 1975. That's the time when I went to school. I thought I just left home to go to school. But when I arrived in school, they used to select people to start school those years. They were not even asking your age. There was a way they were measuring with their hand that if you can touch your ear from your head, then you can join school. So when I went, I tried to touch my ear, I couldn't touch it. So I was told, you can't start school, go back home.
In 1964, Kenya adopted the 7-4-2-3 system of education, which was implemented until 1985.
So in 1975, actually, I stayed home, just looking after animals, doing field, until the following year, 1976, is when I went and now I could touch my ear. That's how I joined class 1.
Towards the end of 1984, the government opined that the 7-4-2-3 system of education lacked the capacity and flexibility to respond to the changing aspirations of individual Kenyans and labor market needs in terms of new skills, new technologies, and the attitude towards work. All A levels, your experience, what subjects were taught and examined.
Kenya Certificate of Education, what we used to call all level. I got Division 2. So you could either get Division 1, Division 2, 3, 4, or fail. Yeah. So I tried. Then this is the result slip. There was a general paper. I did history, I did CRE and Kiswahili, because I really loved Kiswahili. Yeah. And this is how the certificate looks like. Okay.
How did transition from CPE to the 844 system affect you?
It affected us in a big way because during our time, repeating a class was not a big thing. Even skipping a class was not a big thing. Like if the teachers could identify you and they think you're in Form 3 but you're doing very well, that's what my principal used to do at Musingu. He could actually ask you to register for Form 4 exam when you're in Form 3.
The 844 system of education was introduced in January of 1985 following the Mackay Report of 1982. The 844 policy arose out of the concerns that basic education might lack the necessary content to promote widespread sustainable self-employment.
I think I enjoyed my primary school. I enjoyed my primary school. It set the basis to where I am. I meet my class 3 teacher, Madam Domitila. She looks the same even right now, even after she retired. But she's the one I always remember the best she gave us. To me, primary is actually a place where you set where you want to go. They gave us a basis where to go. When it comes to Form 4 actually helped. It is a time where I was in a sports school. We did a lot of sports. And I think to me, we even have a group of the Scorpions up to now from Musingu. We keep on looking back on how we used to do sports. Not even how we used to pass in school, but actually looking at sports.
The rationale was that the previous program was too short and not rigorous enough to give graduates enough practical education. It also recommended that the first 6 years of primary education concentrate on numeric and literacy skills and the last 2 years on basic education with practical orientation. This represented a shift from a focus on enrollment to restructuring the program as a means to cater to the influx of the unemployed.
Form 6 to me, actually it was the break it all. I left a school where there were like 1,001 school rules for ordinary level school. You could be punished for anything. Corporal punishment was real. There was a chamber just for punishing you by being punished by fellow students. Okay. Then I go to St. Patrick's C10 where there are only 2 school rules. Do not step on grass and use common sense. Those are the only rules in that school. And you could meet the principal, and there were so many gates, you could go anywhere the way you want. It actually helped me to now realize that I can actually form myself.
Although the 844 policy has been described as a breakthrough reform in the history of independent Kenya's education system, the system has been the subject of national debate, criticized for being broad, expensive, and burdensome to pupils and parents. The 844 education policy has been linked to the worst strikes that engulfed several schools in Kenya during the year 2001.
So to me, I look at my high school also as a very fun time. We had a few strikes here and there, complaining. I can't say it was all smooth. Yeah, but even the principal who we had a strike with, he's still our friend up now. We still chat with him.
Amid deliberations, the government banned the use of corporal punishment in schools, including schools in its refugee camps.
Before then, in the Act, they had prescribed how corporal punishment was to be administered. They'd even said the size of the stick in the Act. And who is supposed to administer? It was only the head of the school who was supposed to administer, but it was abused.
In conjunction with the 2001 Children's Act, which includes additional laws against violence against children.
We did a project on alternatives to corporal punishment for 3 years, 1997 to 2000. And I can tell you that corporal punishment does not change anything. It only chases children out of school. We also have a Ministry of Education research which showed that some children were killed out of corporal punishment, some were maimed.
And in 2017, competency-based curriculum education replaced the 844 education system.
Curriculum reforms should focus on providing education and training that guarantee opportunities for our young people, not only here in Kenya, but also globally. We need education that is practical and hands-on.
As Kenya turns 60, having experienced CPE, 844, and now a parent and an education stakeholder, what is your take on the country's education landscape?
I wish we could get an education system which can empower children from a lower level. And for us, the children we work with from age 7, if they are empowered, let me tell you, they turn out to be great people because they know how to take care of themselves. They know when to concentrate. They know when not to make a mistake. They know their rights and they know their responsibilities. And even when they start working, they are really effective workers.
Regina Manyara, reporting for KBC Channel 1.